I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated and please silence your phone, put it on silent or turn it off. Thank you. Hi, Teddy. Okay, public comments. This is the time for public comments. Council may ask questions, but may take no action during the public comment section of the meeting except for to direct staff to prepare a report or place an item on a future agenda. If you are here to make comments on a specific agenda item, you may speak at that time. If not, this is the time. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Speakers, if anyone wants to speak, please speak from the podium right here. That's where the microphone is. State your name and mailing address so the city staff can respond to you in regard to your comments or provide you with information if appropriate. You are not required to state your name and address if you do not desire to do so. Item number 1, discussion, possible action, consent calendar.
Gotta ask if anybody wants to move.
You think? You think? Okay, does anyone have a public comment? Sue, welcome. Hey, I was on a roll. I was on a roll. Sorry about that.
My name is Susan Wilson, and I live at 400 Hiram Page Road, number 78. And I know that you're all well aware of the fire situation up there and how close we are to it. We got them to put in an escape route for the lower town. The upper people that live way up on the top, they have no escape route. And so I want to encourage the city council to get involved in planning, to help whatever the help that we get, as well as the fire department. Because my husband and I last night, when the smoke was boiling up over our house, we just got up, grabbed our dog and left. We have go bags in another location and all of our papers and stuff. So it's not been fun living there the last summer, and it's starting already this summer. So I'd like to, just encourage you to find a solution to what's going on up there. And we have, it's hard to explain how many people are up there. It fluctuates, but there's anywhere from 8 to 16 that camp there all the time. When we left the house last night, we went directly over to Greenhorn Park just to hang out for a while, and here a guy was running off the hill, no shirt on, a jacket, and a pair of shorts, and it was cool. And I could tell by his looks, he probably was one of them that bailed out up there. And so, why they set the big pile on fire, I don't know, but it did stir us up. And so, I thank you for your time. I'm gonna leave you for your good business you got to do.
Oh, thank you. And just so that you're aware, we do have Siskiyou Homelessness Coalition. We do look at these. In fact, this morning, Dwayne was leading a meeting on that. I know that there's also a citizens group that meets at the police department, and that was also discussed.
Okay.
So we are working on it.
Thank you.
But thank you.
And that was a hot topic today, just to let you know.
So to
that-
speak.
So to speak, yes.
Whoa.
We had a lot of calls and comments on that today.
We sure did.
I'm Steve Radford, I live right over here, Evergreen. This coalition you've had for the last couple of years has done nothing. You've done a lot of meetings, a lot of talk, but it's done nothing.
That's not true.
Well, it's true because the people are up there in hordes now, and we were up there today looking at all the trash and everything, and it's out of control. And you guys need to step up, heavily step up and take some action. This supporting the homeless and supporting this outreach program, or what do you want to call it, is nothing but welfare. We cannot support welfare any longer in this country. We can't afford it. You guys don't even have pensions to look forward to anymore. If you'd open your eyes to the reality of what's really going on, and quit hiding behind the bureaucratic crap that they keep on putting in front of you all the time, called California communism. The deep state has been ruining our country for the last 300 years, and specifically the last 60 years since I've been alive and been more aware of what's been going on. We keep voting and nothing changes, and now we understand why, because the political scheme that has been taking action in our country and dumbing us all down and making us under this control of this, it's either side, it doesn't matter, it's a corporate control that's ruining our government and encouraging homelessness and welfare is part of the program. That's what you gotta get in your heads and understand, that it's part of the program of taking control of our country. That's not freedom. Our freedom was built on standards like only the strong survive, if you will. I mean, you know, communities took care of their own, churches took care of their own. We always took care of the people who were in need of them, you know, but not people who were just sitting by doing nothing and just looking for a handout. We cannot do that anymore. These people are nothing but just wasted energy, and we've got to get rid of it. I was up there today, it's appalling. I don't want to live in that. I want to live in a place I'm proud of, and I want to make Yreka something that other people are going to go, man, you should hear what those people are doing up there. They've really got something going on. Not this poor, impoverished place that the logging's been taking everything away, and now they're under welfare and all this kind of stuff that we've been living, that you all been living under for the last 30, 40 years, you know? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve, for getting involved too and looking at that and being in the meeting last night. That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, the
Ironically.
fire was set by a couple of guys who had a fight, supposedly, is what the police or somebody on the phone said, and then the fire came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none.
Can I make a comment?
Are you from the public?
No,
Of course you can.
We can make comments
Of
on
course you
that.
can.
I mean, number one, we need code enforcement when there's problems on private property that the people have to clean it up, whether they've got people there that are not invited, they need to get them off and clean them up. And if they don't, we gotta use the codes to,
Enforce
you
it.
know, liens on the property, clean it up at the expense and add it to their tax bill.
Yep.
Because we've gotta protect the city. Fire safety is the number one problem, I think, around this city, and with various homeless camps around the city, that's just asking for danger.
I
So I
agree.
mean, it's something that's gotta be dealt with.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, Norm is our representative on the Fire Safe Council, so he's well aware of that, as are we. So thank you for those of you that came for it. We are aware of it. We are working on it. For those of you that maybe don't get the paper and don't realize the cleanups that we've done more than half a dozen big cleanups behind Rayleigh's, behind J.C. Penney's, and the fairgrounds. And we know that we move them, we clean up, and they move to another location. We're aware of that, and we're working on it. Dawn?
I'm Marie, Autry, I live here in Yreka, and I just wanted to let you know that we hit the freeway, and your good cleanup was for nothing. It's trash again. There's pallets down there, garbage spread everywhere. Tent City, one more time.
Behind Rayleigh's?
Yes. So
Well,
that was
thank you for
just
the good
2 days
news.
ago.
Thank you, Dawn Marie. Anyone else? Okay. Item number 1, discussion possible action consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion unless any member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion or a member of the audience wishes to comment on an item. The city manager recommends approval of the following consent calendar items. A, approval ratification of payments issued from May 3rd to May 16th, 2019. B, approval of minutes of the meeting held May 2nd, 2019. What's the wishes of the council?
I'd like to pull 1A for discussion.
Okay, poll item 1A. How about 1B? Do I have a motion?
What do we need to pull 1A for?
I'll discuss that.
Because Dwayne has an issue.
Okay.
Okay,
So
Oh,
I make a
you have a
motion that we
question?
approve 1B as stands.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
You voted no
What was the name?
on the
Nay,
minutes.
on the no on.
Okay,
On the minutes.
could you tell us why you're voting no on the minutes?
No, we'll talk about it when we talk. It's,
Well, then we need to pull it.
yeah,
You should have pulled it.
Then we need to
so
pull
we
it
could
then.
discuss it.
no, that's
So we
fine.
all are wondering. Okay.
Okay.
Item
Don't have
1A.
enough information. No.
Oh, okay.
So I'll vote nay.
Okay.
If I don't have enough information, I'm gonna vote no, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, Dwayne,
I just have a question on on the vendors, payment wise of Bruce's Towing, for $175. I'm just curious, since we don't really have Retta here, but, curious if that was part of our towing package that we do because of cars or whatever that are abandoned on the road, or does anybody know?
that the police department has towed?
I don't know which
Reddit was in here,
reason.
where's Reddit?
She's at a meeting. So,
Okay,
yeah,
then I guess we'll table that then.
yeah. Let me see if I
It sounds to
can-
me like it's, the cars that have been towed maybe.
That would be
the
my
police
guess, but
department's
I was
got
just
that.
trying to clarify that, yeah.
And I also have one question on it. On side numbers 4, page 4, on the bottom for the Brownsfield for economic development, that's refunded back to us through a grant, isn't it?
Well, we wouldn't call it refunded, but paid for yet.
Yes,
Paid
that, yes,
for by
Yeah.
grant.
yes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I
thank
think
you.
that's like a
Okay.
quarterly.
Okay,
payment.
so your question's answered then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you want to table?
I
you
guess,
wanna table-
I can get-
I don't think we need a table, it's,
I can get back to you
to me on what that is.
On what the tow is, yeah. Because I can't see the department number immediately in the paperwork that I have in front of me.
Oh.
If you gave me 5 or 10 minutes, I could probably do it. but
Liz,
I
do you
don't
know what the department number is for the towing fee?
Well, it's not,
No, it's
on
not.
the,
It's
on the sheet,
defined
that-
on this sheet, Steve.
what's that?
Department numbers are easier to find on this one.
Yeah, but then I gotta find the tow thing, that's what
That's
Okay,
fine.
what are
As
the
long as you-
wishes?
I'll get back to you on
Yeah,
that.
as long as I find out, I'm just curious if it's for abandoned vehicles that like, what we witness very frequently, homelessness and abandoned vehicles, and then we end up having to tow it. I just want it to be aware of that it's a big, another expense that we have to deal with because of issues like that.
Well, I know that's true. so-
Yes,
What would be other reasons why we would be towing cars?
Well, really, we'd be towing cars that are either left on the street or are in some kind of private property. It's possible we could tow a disabled vehicle of our own to somewhere.
oh,
I mean, I'm not sure
Yeah.
that that's what we do.
Was it for 175?
Yes.
yes,
It's
correct.
under
under the police.
YPD on your second page in this.
Yes.
Oh,
YPD
So it is a
answers.
police thing.
so that
Yeah.
would be an
The
abandoned.
police
So it's just, it's a disabled vehicle,
Yeah, okay.
essentially.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
chief and the lieutenant are not here, usually they are.
Yeah,
Thank you, Liz.
We're having a staffless night,
Perfect.
except for
Thank you.
you and Liz and Matt, right?
I'm here.
Don gets credit.
They're not staffless.
That just doesn't sound right.
Okay.
No,
all
that
right.
doesn't sound.
So
fair,
then
right,
I'd
but
like
okay.
to, I'd like to know what the wishes of the council are. Was the $175 police department answered to
Yeah,
your
I'm sure it is for
satisfaction?
that.
Okay, do we have a motion
Make
then?
a motion to approve 1A that stands.
And a second by Paul. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Item number 2, discussion possible action. Approval, Yreka Summer Swim and Activity Program at the Montague Community Park and Pool, and supplemental appropriation in the amount of $8,000 approximately to be allocated between FY 2018-2019 and 2019-2020. And I had a meeting today at the YMCA with Splash and the YMCA and myself representing the city. And as you know, we talked about this at least the last meeting, maybe several meetings, that due to our pool not being open, again, we're still working on that. Knock on wood, we're gonna get the grant for that. But we're trying to find a way to get kids to a working pool. So I've been working with the mayor of the city of Montague. Montague has been wonderful in accepting that, we can bring our kids over. So also I've been working with the local transportation commission, and as I told you, got the passes that we paid $40 a piece for last year are now $20 a piece this year. However, we found that the major problem with transporting the kids was that the parents did not want to put the children on the bus without supervision. Can't say as I blame them. So we looked at a way that the city could provide that supervision. The city is not set up for having a worker that deals with kids. So we talked to Splash. Splash The nonprofit that usually operates our pool for us doesn't have insurance anymore since the pool isn't open and they don't have employees. So we then went to Scott Eastman, the executive director of the YMCA, and asked him if he could do that. And he said, sure, if we reimburse them. And so I had a meeting with them today. And we talked about lots of details. I had no idea how many details there are when you're dealing with kids. Lots of details. So first of all, we're working on the flyer, and of course the YMCA Splash and ourselves, as well as the city of Montague, what to be listed on that. Also, YMCA is looking into the extra liability insurance that they may have to pay. They'll let us know what that amount is, because of course the city would be responsible for covering that. We're talking about getting wristbands for the kids, so that our supervisor that's there will be able to easily identify the kids in the pool. Oh, Amy, I didn't see you. Amy, jump in here anytime. In fact, come up to the, if you don't mind, come up here and we can have a little discussion. So wristbands for our kids, so that we can make sure that our kids get out of the pool occasionally and rest. And we're also looking at ways of making sure that they have sunscreen and healthy food and snacks too. We're gonna be working with like the Rotary clubs and others to raise funding for that. We also need a medical card that the YMCA has that they will, provide for us. And interestingly, I think this is wonderful. They are so wonderful at the YMCA. The YMCA would like to be the point of contact and actually do the sales, or not the sales, but have the forms for the parents to fill out and sign
nice.
Wonderful.
right there.
Nice.
And not only do they want to do that, they would also like the pickup point for the kids to be right there at the YMCA.
Perfect.
There's a bus stop there.
That's
I've got a
awesome.
phone call in to
Nice.
Melissa Cummins at over at the transportation office, Siskiyou Transportation. And I didn't get a chance to talk to her today, but if that is a stop going toward Montague, then that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Scott can see it right from his office. It's off up the hill from the street, but close enough that
Nice.
supervisor can gather the kids, and it's a safe location. So looking at that,
That's better controlled too, I
Mhm.
think.
yeah, we're looking at, I know that when you look at this proposal, you're gonna see that it was a 5-day-a-week proposal. Actually, today, we talked about changing that to a 3-day, say a Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
That seems like
where
more,
the kids
yeah.
could go, and it will be a program within the YMCA. And so it would be a 3-day-a-week program, and it would be for 6 weeks. It would not start the week after school's out to give the kids a chance to get used to summer, but the week after that. So the weeks we talked about, Amy, were June 17th to July 26th, and then the next week after that is when the fair starts, and then right after that is when school starts.
Gotcha.
So it would be a 6-week program, 3 days a week. So it might be slightly less than the $8,000 figure, but
Okay.
we're throwing it out as that, oh, and we're talking about the ages. Amy brought up a really good point, is that the ages that this would be for, the kids between the ages of 8 and 14. And there's very specific reasons for that.
I suggested age 8 because the Montague pool policy is that children under the age of 8 do not enter without a parent.
Oh,
And so age 8 would allow us to meet their policy under a supervisor position. And then the age of 14, based on previous, when Splash was running the pool, the largest age group that we were servicing were between about 10 and 14 years old. And so I thought that was kind of a good cutoff. By the time the kids are about around 15, some of them are looking for jobs, they're in high school, they're doing other things. So targeting that age of students where they don't have a lot else going on, but they can be supervised by another responsible adult other than a parent. That was my suggestion.
So Madam Mayor, I want to thank you you've done a great job. I looked this
Yes.
over, and you've done a great job putting it together with, yourself,
Working
and
with
you may have
staff
had
and
some.
Retta, yes.
Yeah, staff help. It looks wonderful. It's what we owe our kids. We do owe our kids
Yes.
this is the least we owe them, and I'll be the one that'll make the motion when you're ready. Because I think it's a wonderful program. It's well put together.
Thank you.
And it's an efficient use of money, I think.
I agree.
so, yeah, getting back to the money part, do we still have, I know you guys researched this, do we still have money left over from the prior year, not this year, obviously, that was allocated for, because of the swimming pool, we had X amount of dollars. So the prior year, we should still have money floating around, don't we, in our budget that never got used up, correct?
We'd have to ask Retta.
We'd have to check the pool and see if the money is floating.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Me and my
Steve.
So,
Not likely.
so the way
There's
that,
nothing floating in that.
No,
pool.
there's
Not
not.
likely.
But I mean, there was unused money from the prior year budget.
well, so that's not how we budget. We don't
Right.
have the floating money stay there. We usually,
Sweep it.
close it out.
Roll
Yeah, we
it.
sweep it at the end of the year into the general fund and then we
Well, yeah,
budget
you
for
guys
it.
are on the budget.
And
You need to
so,
sweep
so this really would come out of, if you think about it, those funds, the prior year, those funds went to Splash. The last budget year, if I've got the math right, those would have been swept into the, well, the
General fund.
General fund, right?
And then, we haven't budgeted for it to be operational.
Right.
So, these funds actually will come out of reserves.
Right.
But if you think about it, that's where the money.
That's where the
That's
money
where the money
Otherwise,
goes.
would
basically
have
went
been,
to anyway.
so-
That's kind of that
That's what I
floating.
basically wanted to
Yeah.
hear. It did go someplace, but now it can go
But
to
you just want me to
this.
sneak floating.
Some
in
of
there.
that floating.
It's
Yeah.
not floating,
No.
even though it's.
It's not actually formally budgeted because we didn't have that, but anyway.
But the money didn't get spent someplace else, in other words, that it shouldn't have.
Well, the money's,
It's-
you've gotta sweep it.
Yeah, you have to
at the
sweep it.
end. You can't, because you can't just leave it hanging there for audit purposes and
Right.
other
Right.
things.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did
Cool.
that answer?
as I
your
recall, it
question?
was only about $1,500.
Okay, I'll call for the question.
I'll make the motion that we approve the approval of the Yreka Summer Swim and Activity Program at the Montague Community Park and Pool and supplemental appropriation in the amount of $8,000 to be allocated between fiscal year 2018-19 and fiscal year 2019-20.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. I think Ron was first. Okay, I have a motion in 2 seconds, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being here, Amy. I know you've got a family reunion to get ready for, so you go,
These
girl.
things that are requiring my energy, thank you very much.
You go,
See you.
girl.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and thank you for all your help
Yes,
today.
of course, thank you.
All right, okay, bye. Okay, item number 3 is discussion possible action authorize city staff to enter into an asset and operations management software and professional services agreement with Cartograph Systems. Matt,
Why are you hobbling?
Mayor, members of council,
his hips.
sort of.
Uh-oh.
So this is basically the final phase of our asset management system project that we've been working on for about 6 or 8 years. The last time I spoke to you regarding this, I was very, very excited about it because we were finally got there. We're finally gonna get this thing going. So since then, we've worked through the RFP process and found what we believe is the most elegant solution to what our field crews need to accurately capture everything they do in the field. So anything that is citywide that they're working on, a fire hydrant, a sprinkler, a building, it all dumps into this. And over the years, we built the layers for the parks and the water and the sewer system and the storm drain. It's all there, the frameworks and the computer ready for this. So we deployed it to the field in a demonstration model. The guys fell in love with it. It's simple, take pictures, video, type in what you're working on. It's just extremely powerful, and the efficiencies that it creates, it's like adding more people to our crews. And then the history of it, I've always spoken to it or thought of it as, it's our new vault. When you walk into the back of City Hall, we've got the old vault door in there. And that's where Liz and I are digging around in old files with an inch of dust on them. This just puts it all right at our fingertips forever. So, we did budget for this, and we did come in a little bit lower than we expected, I think. For the next 3 years, we're looking at about $106,000 to get us going. There's an initial cost up front to get the software going and the training going. We've already purchased, most of the field crews are running the devices that they need already to access it. So we just start plugging it in certain layers. We're gonna focus in on the enterprise funds first, get the water in there, get the sewer in there, and then the storm drains will come. So,
Yeah, I was also pleased
are-
to see that there's still 144,000 in there, so it's actually coming in under budget.
we have the funding, yes. So we are there, and that is what I'm here for tonight, is to recommend that you authorize staff to move forward.
Okay,
Question?
yes, question.
Okay, you've researched other cities that are using this company?
Other cities, yes. Yes, we began researching this, Retta and I, about 8 years ago, when most of these were still in their infancy. It was kind of a pie in the sky, man, someday I wish we could really get something like that. And we've looked nationwide, not just California. Redding, California, one that we follow very closely, actually, with our construction standards and a lot of our code and stuff like that. They've been operating the cartograph for a number of years. We spoke with their directors, their maintenance guys, we do diligence all the way around.
And it works.
Yeah, and I believe there were 5 or 6, there were 6 different proposals. It's right there in front of me, it says 6. There's 6 proposals, and they were all, an inch thick when you do an RFP on something like this, and then we brought the folks in and we talked to them and just sell us on it, And, yeah, so lots of cities. Cartograph is really kind of the gold standard, because they're so robust, and yet you can purchase the modules that you need to fit your city. So the way that Reading uses it is completely different than the way we will use it, because Reading has an entire asset management staff sitting there, and they're just plugging data in all day long. That's what they do. And so we can pare it down, so even though it's this massive company, they can make the small offerings that work for us.
Any other questions?
No,
Does that
sounds
answer your
good.
question?
Oh, I have
Debbie?
one. So how far in the future will this take us? Can we still be using it in 20 years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just computer data, so, God forbid something happened to Cartograph itself, but they're like the Esri, if you're familiar with ArcGIS at all. It's kind of like the canned name for GIS. Everybody's heard of ArcGIS. That's fired by Esri. That's the company in the background, the monster that runs it all. They're getting up there, of course, Google land.
Well,
Since it's
chips
used,
in
GIS,
it.
asset management's used globally. Everybody's doing it. So I am still extremely excited to get this thing going. So.
Any other questions? What are the wishes of the council?
Well, I'll make a motion that we authorize the city staff to enter into an asset and operations management software and professional services agreement with Cartograph Systems LLC.
We have a second, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, I guess nobody's against it. Great, good job, Matt.
Thank you all.
Go forward and do good.
It's gonna be great stuff.
Okay, thank you, and take care of that.
Yep.
thing. Okay, item number 4, discussion possible action, Chamber of Commerce contract, lease 320 West Minor Street, and I see we have the chamber here. Thank you guys for being here. And
Yes.
Steve,
Mayor and council, this is gonna be more of an update, and, as we said, we're working on this, and we're going to report what we've done so far. We have had the opportunity to talk with the chamber. We met out at the, site at 320 Main Street to, take a look at it and walk through. Got a lease agreement that, actually, city attorney has reviewed and sent back to me, so we're working on that. And then we also have a draft agreement, which we haven't showed the chamber yet, so it's not really fair to do anything other than sort of talk about it.
is this a secret agreement?
This is
Yeah, no kidding.
No,
Here,
but,
just sign here.
but we think incorporates the clauses in there, but, we need to sit down and talk with them. So, Nancy and I just, talked and told her what my schedule was, but I need to get them something out, I'm hoping tomorrow.
Oh, good.
And, so that then we can talk about whether it, whether it covers everything that we need to cover, and then we can bring it back to you, certainly no later than June 11th.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say, we'd have
That's
to.
our-
do that.
Yes. Is that our last? That's not our last. Is that
No,
our
it's
last?
not.
20th.
Yeah,
Pardon?
June 20th.
June 20th, so
right,
June 11th, hopefully, no later
Yeah.
than the 20th.
right. And we may even, well, we can talk about the, we may even try to bring it back sooner than that, just so we can tie up the, property.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good deal.
so,
Okay, all righty, well, thank you guys for being here. Did you have a comment? Please come down and state your name.
I'm Carrie Owen. question. We actually came just to talk about the chamber moving,
Uh-huh.
but you said it's gonna be on Main Street?
No.
Minor.
I may have said
Yeah, I think you
because
did say
I mess it
May.
up
Did
all
you
the
say
time.
May?
I think you
Oh.
did, yeah.
I had minor in my
Minor
head,
Street.
starts with an
Yeah.
M.
So, I don't know if it matters at all, but I've got two businesses on Minor, and then he's got one, and Mimi can't be here, but she's got one. And just an opinion, from people that have businesses there, we think it would be great if the chamber did move to someplace that's more visible, more accessible, more like Main Street. Just because, our hope is that Minor Street would be businesses where people can come and do things and purchase things, do
Retail.
things, retail, or, you know, more of what is going on, more new things where people can actually come and experience things. And so it would be great if the chamber could direct them there. But we actually looked at that building and he's like, no, I think the chamber's great. So we're like, well, couldn't they just go someplace more visible, like where when people come off the freeway, they're kind of more visible. So we just kind of wanted to say that on behalf of our 4 businesses. It'll be whatever it is, and we're glad for the move either way.
Thank you.
Could you tell us what your businesses are?
Yes, so I have specialty pedicures out of Jupiter Salon, and I also have Heart's Ease out of Level Up.
Okay.
And then Brad has Humble Soul Tattoo out of the Minor Street Art House, and of course Mimi is the Minor
Mimi,
Street.
yes, Mimi Dunning.
So we're actually trying to all combine
Right
into
on.
one.
Oh,
Great.
cool.
Anyway,
Great.
That is
thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, so that'll come back before us then,
Yeah.
next meeting. All right, thank you. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Otherwise, who knew, yeah, really, that you should be on Main Street? Okay, item number 4, no, did that. Item number 5, discussion possible action, authorize a position control change, deleting the grant and project analyst position and adding a public works municipal projects manager. Matt?
Steve,
Oh, Steve, Matt, Steve, somebody.
Somebody-
Bye, guys,
Thanks, guys.
see you.
So,
we can tag team this. I think
Right,
it's probably
yeah.
best. So I wanna just start it off with, this is a volume issue through the Department of Public Works right now. The level of work at which we are performing now, we're keeping our head just at the level, at the water level. The number of projects has just completely gotten unmanageable.
And just
To
Just
give
for
them-
information, Matt, I asked the question, so how many projects do you have? Matt's answer astounded me, 42 projects. 42 projects, that's a lot.
We have 42 active projects right now that are requiring daily, if not weekly, attention. Cindy and I are battling to keep the level of service to where it should be for the folks that we're working for. In the past, the Public Works has been set up in a much different manner. And Renee Boisington and I and Ben Miller have had deep, long discussions about this for about the past 18 months. I've written 2 to 3 separate job descriptions, which is no easy task, trying to create exactly what it is that the department needs, because it changes weekly. And then year by year, there's just this it's in constant flux. I looked all the way back to the 80s. There was a director of Public Works, and there were multiple assistant directors. There's been different levels of management all the way through it, so it's nothing new that Public Works is altering the way in which we do business, because in the end, it's about us performing the work that's expected of us in a timely manner. So this position is a duplication of the one we brought to you a year and a half ago or so, when we had written this municipal projects manager position. And it was new at that point to the city. The city never had a municipal projects manager. There were different names, and you did part of this, and someone else would help you do that with assistance and such. So that's where we are. I don't want to get too lengthy into it or sound like I'm complaining, but I believe our citizens deserve better than we can give them right now, and this position allows that. The fiscal impact of this is, it's not minuscule, it's real money. But because of vacancies within the department, that we've been trying to write these job descriptions for a year now. There's funding laying there, ready to be spent on wages to get these projects moving. And we're, in essence, just taking an assistant position and flipping it up into a municipal projects manager position, duplicating the one that we have now. It creates capacity for the city manager's projects that land when he has time to delegate them to me, and then I don't try to delegate them away.
I'm gonna have more time.
This gives him more time to get those projects done.
In a
I could
perfect
rattle
world.
off a bunch of them that we haven't gotten to, you know, other than the 42. we're
Unless
working
his
on.
42 projects take precedence.
Yeah.
But,
No,
we've
he's
got-
starting to add some onto that list.
Right,
that
yeah, I'm
are
already up to 46.
real projects, so,
But,
yeah.
you know, we have roofing projects that we've all talked about.
Right.
We have 75,000 a year, which
Right.
isn't much, but it's $75,000 a year that we put into the budget for roofing projects, and we don't have anyone to administer that.
Right.
Or we don't have the body to go out and look for a grant to help us, so that's just our match, so maybe we could do more. The beauty part about the municipal projects manager is that if they perform their job correctly, a very large percentage of their work is paid for by a grant. And that's the whole thing. We don't have the money floating around, like we
No
talked about a
floaters,
bit ago.
yeah.
We need to have these people go find it for us and administer those grants. And I really like it. I spoke with Cindy Lynch, my sole municipal projects manager now, and explained to her, I like it because I came from the field, boots on the ground theory. This allows both of these folks to find the project, fund the project. You know, they're literally boots on the ground all the way up, foundation to finish, so to speak, on these projects. And so the invoicing of that particular project that's assigned to that municipal projects manager, that person knows every little penny on the invoice. That person knows everybody that's on the job, and I think it's a nice solution to our issue right now, so.
Okay,
Is there any other questions?
that was
About
what,
the
yeah.
position.
Anyone have a question? Oh, Debbie.
So you're increasing the capacity of the administrative side of it. Will you be coming back to us because you need more personnel to actually perform these duties and carry it out?
On the project side?
Yes.
No, because a lot of these larger projects we put out to an RFP, so let's talk about the roofing project. If the new municipal projects manager goes out and finds a grant that we can match with these budgeted funds that we have, that person could run that project, write the request for proposals, the RFP, get it to the street, get the contractors in here, and so we're getting more contractor work done.
So we're not totally dependent on the staffing that we have?
No.
Okay.
That's what
Now,
I needed
the
to know.
majority of these projects are not overseen by the municipal projects manager, the true projects, that's what Ben does as a maintenance and operations manager. That's what Rob does as the water manager, and Mike at the wastewater treatment plant as a manager. So they are managing their folks and their smaller in-house projects, where the MPMs are running the high-scale, multi-million-dollar paving projects, things of that nature. And it's not just the additional capacity for the city managers, it's additional capacity for me, for Ben, for Retta. It goes all the way that into the office, so.
Well, and hopefully it'll bring in some other funding that we didn't know was available too, by having someone doing some more research. Hopefully we can bring in some other funding that wasn't available last year or year
Right.
before, so.
Yeah, and that's truly just the capacity to sit down and do 2 hours of research on something,
Exactly.
because if Cindy and I are swamped working on the pool, for instance,
Yeah.
on that one, or if we get a big one like this Highway 3 project that
Yeah,
Caltrans
that's gonna be huge.
Coming up.
Yeah, that's,
you know, we're done, that's Cindy
Yeah.
and I, and we're buried, so.
yeah.
For 5 years.
Oh, that's what you pay us for.
Okay, any
No,
questions?
I think it's.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to authorize a position control change, deleting the grants and project analyst position and adding a public works municipal projects manager.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Dwayne. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, good. Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Okay, item number 6, discussion possible action, adopt resolution adopting the 2019 meeting calendar for the Yreka City Council. Yeah, we had a couple of dates we had to change around, Steve?
Yeah, Mayor, members of the council, we talked about two different dates where there were conflicts with the meetings. One of them is graduation, which is on June 6th. The other is a national holiday some of you may have heard of, which
Fourth
is
of
July 4th.
I know you guys have heard of it.
And so at this point, normally when there's a conflict, like if June 6th was a holiday, the regular meeting is rescheduled to the following Tuesday, which would be June 11th. Now, I know that, you know, Tuesday isn't Thursday, so there may be some issues with attendance at that meeting, but that's the first one we looked at, that we really do need that meeting, I think, in June still, the first
I
meeting in
agree.
June.
I agree.
So we wanted to suggest to move that to June 11th. The July 4th holiday, more often than not, that July 4th week, we cancel that meeting. If it's, you know, if July 4th is on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, it generally is not a good date for a meeting. And so we've typically canceled that. Occasionally, we have scheduled a special meeting sometime in July, sort of as an indirect result of that. And just put one item on there. So on that one, we're recommending that we not reschedule it for the,
Fourth,
yeah, now I'm trying to get to
or
it.
the
You've
ninth.
got the calendar up there, and so
Oh,
to not
Right there.
reschedule it for the 9th, but simply
You're right, yeah.
Have
cancel
it
it,
on the 18th?
cancel it, and then have, the next meeting would be on the 18th.
Okay.
And that usually seems to work out. I know that that's a time where people take vacations.
You can dock my pay if that helps.
Yeah.
Tuck your pay.
You're paid for not showing up? Yeah.
Well, I think
On the
that,
4th of July, I thought we got paid double time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. I
There you
like
go.
it.
Twice a nickel is a dime.
well, anyone that thinks that the only thing that council members do is the time up here isn't paying any attention to
Right.
all of the other obligations that you
Wait
have
till you
in meetings
get my
that you have.
report.
So, anyway, we wanted to put that on for discussion. You know, we had talked at one point about changing the meeting dates for certain reasons, but that doesn't seem to be in the cards because it's not fair if
I still
people.
like Tuesdays,
Okay,
but
well,
Norm doesn't like Tuesdays.
Well, I made special arrangements with my client to not show up on June 11th. I'm gonna go on
Ah,
Thursday, just that one time.
that one
I
time.
get a
So-
flip flop.
Just for that one time, yeah,
Okay.
so I'm okay with it now.
Ask him how he feels about the future
No,
Thursday
no, we
meetings.
can't do that.
Darn.
So we're recommending, this is what we're recommending, having a meeting on June 11th, and then canceling the July 4th and June 6th meetings.
Okay. Okay, how does the council feel?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution for the 2019 calendar for the Yreka City Council as presented.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the recommended motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. That's, I believe that's the end of that part of the meeting, but we also have to go into closed session at this
You
time.
want staff reports?
Oh, you wanna do a staff report? Matt left, so he's not gonna do a staff report. The chief of police is not here, and neither is the treasurer, so.
These lists.
Steve and Don, it's to you.
I guess that I get to do, the first
Oh,
thing.
Liz, you wanna give a report?
Did you say, oh, no.
The first thing that I wanted to mention was that, as we've talked about, the city is redoing its website, and we're expecting to get, I believe it's tomorrow, if not tomorrow, it'll be within a day or two, the recommended colors for the website. Now, that's not the kind of thing that we bring here. to
Red and
coun-
gold.
To council for a lot of obvious reasons, but there, if you wanna see what the colors look like, come in and drop into the office, you can take a look and sort of get an idea. They actually call this, and I'm not making this up, I just have to tell you, they call it the mood board.
News.
Yeah, so I would call it colors, but anyway.
That
Yeah,
is
So-
my alley, you know, should
Yes.
I go in?
colors, that's right.
So, yeah, if you wanna come in and,
You
you know,
should.
take a look at them, that would be fine. I know that on colors, that's one of those things you can have a lot of discussion about.
Forever.
I know what I like when I like it, and that kind of thing, so.
Until Debbie tells me that's not the right color.
We've talked about the local hazard mitigation plan a number of times. There's been some frustration that it's been taking
2
so
years.
long. I think that I actually sent in our portion of that a little over a year ago. I just got an email that says that,
We didn't?
and I'll send you a copy of the email.
We talked about it, but I never saw a finished product.
Okay,
Right.
there's two parts of finished product. There's the finished project that Steve does on behalf of the city and
And
sends
then
it
part of the emergency.
to the county, and then they send it to the state.
Oh, yes.
And I did not realize this, but they send it to FEMA. Now, I'm thinking FEMA is the feds.
Okay.
So anyway, I was told that the state has, I have a thing from Cal OES saying that they have sent it to FEMA. So,
From last year?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
taken a year.
that's what I'm telling you. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Wow.
And I thought our government moved slowly. Evidently, the state and feds are slower.
Yeah.
We just like to think of us as a lot quicker than that, yes. I want to talk about the Community Development Block Grant Program, and I apologize, I do not have the date that the public meeting has happened, we'll email it out to you, but we have what's called program income. This is, we have a number of loans that we've made either for housing or for business loans. It's a portfolio that doesn't send off a lot of current income. Some of the loans are in default, but one of them got paid off recently, which is a good thing.
Hallelujah.
Right.
After how many years?
I don't
A
know.
long time.
Longer than I have been here.
Yeah.
So,
Guaranteed.
anyway, with that, it pushes us over the threshold of $500,000. You may remember that some of the projects that Matt was talking about that are on sort of our list, but not on a project manager list, are the ADA bathrooms. And then the other thing that we have talked about is possibly trying to purchase a bus for the Madrone senior program as well. And we had sort of targeted those CDBG funds to do that, but never got around to actually doing it because we didn't have anybody put on it. Now, because we have more than $500,000, the state can say, hey, we noticed that you haven't been spending your money, send us a check. So we are in the process of, we've already announced the public meeting that's required to put in an application to the state. It would be coming to you on, I believe, I know that you'll get it in June. I'm not sure if it's the 11th or the 20th. It'll be coming before you. But the public meeting is a chance for the public to come and talk about what they might think of for CDBG funds. And then, we have these other projects that we've heard of over the years that would be useful. So I just want to tell you that's coming. It's coming at you fairly quickly, not because we have a project manager on it to do anything yet,
No.
but because there is this state deadline or trigger that we want to.
And on that meeting that you do that on probably June 20th or whatever we end up deciding on,
Right.
will you be clarifying the restrictions on this too, as far as what is the restrictions? What can we be using that money for?
We actually can do that now.
Okay.
But the main thing, there's, the main things that CDBG funds can be used for are low income benefit, blight, or they have it's not, I'm getting the phrase wrong, it's not sudden need, but it's like that urgent need. There's something really bad happening, it's happening right now, and we've got to take care of it. That one's hardly ever used, by the way, other than things like the weed fire. I think they use CDBG funds and moved them around. So those are the three big things. However, within that low income benefit, for example, there are a whole variety of things that are allowed and a whole variety of things that are prohibited. Because over the years, every time that the program changes, they add a new rule, and it's gotten, I hate to think how big the contracts are now, but anyway.
Right.
So, and we'll certainly send that information out,
That'd be great.
yeah, on that. So I wanted to let you know, and I will get you you don't have to remember the day of the meeting either.
It's posted over at City Hall. I know Cindy posted it.
Right, yeah, it's posted, so, anyway, we'll send that.
We're legal.
we'll send, yeah, we're legal, so then we'll send that, we'll send that out. Oh, maybe it's on this one. No such luck. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is that I will send you the snow surveys. I always like to see the snow surveys. I think it had something to do with the fact that my father did them. And we are over average because it has snowed a lot. And the only place that's under average is a place called Swampy John's.
Swampy John.
I love their names of their stuff.
That's interesting.
But anyway, so right now, the water situation is looking good. They kind of, the April one is the one that they really use to talk about how much snow is actually staying up there and will be ready to melt and service in the future. So, anyway, that's my reports.
Thank you. So now we'll have, who wants to go first? Paul,
I'll yield my time tonight.
yield
so
your
that-
time. Debbie,
Mine's very short. Went to the LAFCO meeting Tuesday night, and everything was fine. But I did want to let the council know that 2 representatives from Splash were there to tell us that coming down the pike is their interest in developing a recreational district for us,
Parks and Rec.
for the,
Oh,
Parks and Rec.
for the pool, yes.
oh, good. Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that. That's great that they brought it to LAFCO because that's a long process.
Very
Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay.
Okay, there's a thank you letter from the Yreka Rotary here to the city council, so that's with Liz. The Rotary Club of Yreka held the Siskiyou Scenic Bike Tour on May 4th, and it was a great success. It was changed from the September date, which had been canceled numerous times because of the smoke. And so this was an excellent event. We had over 220 riders, and the Rotary Club made a good amount of money, which will go into various community things throughout the year, because that's what the Rotary Club does, is sponsor things throughout the community, help the community. And the Rotary Club wants to thank the city for really helping out with the event at Greenhorn Park. Looked spotless. People were very impressed with Greenhorn Park, and
Where's the people that need to hear that?
we
That are
want to thank the
complaining about
maintenance
it?
department that worked real hard on that. And we want to thank the police department for escorting the riders and providing safety for them. So it was really a great event, and we had the taiko drummers and the Celtic Cats, and we had a luncheon from Baja Fresh that was really good. So it worked out very well, and the weather cooperated great. It wasn't too hot, just a perfect day. So I mean, it was a very successful event that really promoted Yreka, because we had riders coming from all over.
Alaska, and what does this say? Massachusetts? Wow, they came a long ways. Loved the park. It was a great event. Super
Very
awesome.
nice.
That's awesome. Just to, can I just add on to that a little bit? So at the Rotary meeting yesterday, Crystal report, who was the chair of the committee, along with Audrey Flower. Anyway, they also not only had people in the park, they did an additional 25 hotel room nights.
Oh, good.
As well as some of the RVers, because it was a dry camp.
Right.
Chose to stay at Yreka RV Park, so they also spent money locally and stayed locally.
Did anybody stay at the fairgrounds? Because they have accommodations there too.
They didn't mention the fairgrounds, they just said Yreka and the 25 local hotels. They were very impressed with the YPD escort, and they gave Steve all kinds of kudos on that, so you should have been, you were leading the escort, were you, Steve?
I'm just glad they did it. I don't think that I had anything to do with that.
And it said, oh, and Ben and Richard in Public Works Department, they said that they helped out and they were really appreciative. Okay, so, sorry, didn't mean to cut in.
No, that's fine.
Okay, do you have anything else?
No, that's,
Okay, great. Okay.
A couple things, I just wanna, a while back I mentioned, finding out numbers. Of course, Red is not here now, but, we need to bring it back though. we had, when our last big fire that we had, that was up above the old mill site, I requested that we find out what the numbers were, that if we had to pay out anything to, when CAL FIRE was involved in this. So I'd like to see those
I can
numbers.
get those for you.
Yes,
Are you talking, the two fires that I'm aware of
Correct.
are the one up on the hill that just scooted
Above the old
up?
mill site on that one. That one
Okay.
I'm really looking, is the last fire, because that was the big one
Don't
on
leave.
above the mill site there.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Above Burger King and all that.
We worked that out already, so, but I'll get you the information.
I would like to have the information at least
Sure.
on that. And, this last fire, obviously.
You talking
was-
about up in the Campbell tract?
Camel tracks? No, the last fire last night is what I'm talking about now.
Where was that? I don't know a thing
It was
about it.
it was above the trailer
Oak
park.
Ridge,
It was
Buffalo
above.
Yep,
States.
and it
yeah.
was at a homeless camp, even though probably shouldn't say that, but it's pretty much guaranteed it was, because I know that area very well. We need to figure out discussion on that, if there's, like what Norm was saying, if there's something that we can put more pressure on the property owners, and that's something that in the future we gotta start doing somehow, some way, so.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion, so I just wanna bring that open.
Sure.
In open forum, that we need to push forward on that and really push hard on that, because we are entering fire season, and if that would have been, even last week, that fire, the results would have been a totally different outcome than what happened last night. Luckily, the humidity was low, we had a little drizzle, and it was the CAL FIRE and our Yreka agency was able to put it out
Thank
speedily.
goodness.
Yeah, thank
Because
goodness.
the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
So,
If it, like I said, if it was a week ago, that probably would have been a different story. If it was a month from now, it would have been a very different story. All the dead brush up there and dead junipers, that thing would have exploded, and those people at that trailer park would not have had a way to get out in time.
so would you like to see that as an agenda item for?
Yes, I
Okay.
would, somehow to address
And
that
it's
situation.
not an agenda item for open discussion, it's a council agenda item, correct? I mean, we can have public comment,
Closed
but it's not something where we'd be answering,
Correct.
correct, we're not gonna be answering.
No.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, if I could ask for a little clarification on that, so are we asking like our fire department and our staff?
Well, what we can
Are we
do
asking
to-
CAL FIRE?
To push this forward further as far as an aspect of what Norm was saying
Fire Safe
earlier.
Council?
No, what
A
I'm
second
looking
exit.
at, is there any changes we can do in our city
Correct,
codes
correct.
to make code enforcement better when we have potential hazardous things on private property? That's what we're looking for.
Exactly.
And/or even look at the current codes to see if
Right.
there's a way.
Right.
We can, we can
Yes.
be more effective.
Liz has
And
an
if I
answer.
might interject, we don't have a code, it's a policy, so it's very easily done.
Oh.
There isn't a code that addresses this. It's
So
a
we'd have to
policy.
turn a policy into a code.
You don't have to, you can just change the policy.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's easier,
So then we need to
Okay.
bring forward that policy, to review that policy then, is what we need to
but
do.
then it's not code enforcement.
No, it's still code enforcement.
It's still- it's a
She follows
policy
a
that-
policy that says,
Right.
how far you clear around the larger
Right.
parcels, the smaller parcels.
Oh, I see.
That's a policy.
Yes. that's
Easily
perfect.
done.
That's perfect, I
That's-
like that.
that's fine.
So yeah, let's bring that forward to review that.
I'd like to point out there that if they don't have a second exit up there, I think the proper avenue would be to have a correspondence with the owner of the property to see if they have that in the plans for the future.
Have you been up
Make
there
them aware
lately?
of it.
So as you go up that hill,
Splits.
it splits.
Mhm.
But she was absolutely right, that they've created a dirt road, if you will, that goes off and down through that,
Through the Fairchild.
through the
Medi-
Fairchild Medical Center
It
area.
connects with Payne.
But, it does, but that road continues up the hill and it flattens out.
Yeah, there's a
At the
cul-de-sac
top.
up there, yeah.
And I don't know where on earth they would put a road there, because that's right at the top of that hill. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
But I still think the owners of the park should be brought into the discussion of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
So-
absolutely.
So I just, my interpretation is that that's an area where there's some concern, and we'll bring back something that
Yeah, but see,
looks
it
at
still
that.
goes up the hill.
Or probably more importantly, we'll continue trying to figure out a way to solve something.
Yeah, I think it's something
We'll
we
keep you in the
definitely
loop.
need to.
That's that dirt road and that, but the road continues zone up the hill this way, and it flattens out at the top of the hill.
Okay, I wanna make sure
Turn
that,
around up there. It's
oh,
nothing.
and the person that came tonight did mention, there is a second exit out of
Well,
the
yeah, but
trailer
it's
park.
further down the hill.
I know, it's not in.
And the people at the top of the hill have no protection.
So what is
Yeah.
when, and you, I don't know if you're aware of this, but right when you get to Oak Ridge, we have the one that basically cuts off to the left, and it is a dirt road that goes, actually does go up above
By
and
Roy's.
ties in, and then it goes, is that going through another person's property, or is this just?
My understanding, and I could be wrong about knowing exactly which road you're talking about, and if you tell me more details, I won't be able to correct that, so let's not go there. But we do have an easement up there
That's what I'm
to
thinking, that's
our
what that
water
is,
main.
I'm pretty sure that's the easement of
Right, and
ours.
so we do have, direct control over that. And, but there's some other property that are owned by other people.
Right, up above that stuff.
Above that, and actually the property that we go through as well.
Okay.
So, it is something that we're aware of and trying to figure out, all the different things that we can, do. I also concur that the park ownership,
Yeah. needs to
has,
be involved somehow.
is a
Well,
play in it.
I'm just curious if somehow we can tie the easement into more of the property owners of the trailer park into that park, because it does cut, like, I'm pretty sure that is our easement that goes right up above it and cuts through there at least.
I'm not prepared
So
to
I
answer the question.
understand, I understand.
but
Is that, but
we're
is
looking
that
at
something
everything.
that maybe we could discuss in a, not necessarily in an open forum, but just have a proper discussion about that and look into that possibly?
we can look into it,
Okay,
yeah.
that'd be great, awesome.
Okay, anything
Um,
else?
Oh, we
Oh, the
had-
homelessness coalition.
We had the homeless
Yes.
coalition meeting today. I was dubbed the chair of the.
I nominated
homeless-
you.
My
You're
wife's-
welcome, Debbie.
Wasn't he there?
Oh, he was there. He was there going, okay.
So in conjunction with that, we are definitely gonna, with the Siskiyou Homelessness Coalition, we are changing a few things, so hopefully we'll be seeing some more positive results. We're definitely gonna be starting to put more emphasis on our local area and still be working with the county and everybody else like we are now with Sheriff Lopi, the behavioral health, human services, and all that stuff. We're still gonna be working with that. That is gonna be more of an outlining and a meeting that takes place not as frequently with them, where we're gonna be developing our own and more frequent part of that. So that's where we're at with that, to where we can start addressing this issue properly at our local level. So
Great.
that's where we're going. And that's all I
Awesome,
got.
good job, and thank you for accepting that nomination. That was perfect. The gentleman who's been in the acting position is moving on.
Yep.
Ed Patches, he's done a great job.
Yes, he
And
has.
You've done a good job of helping him. It's been a really, really busy couple of weeks, but just a few things that have happened. Just last night, yesterday afternoon and last night out at Bel Campo, I told you and I was inviting you guys to attend. It was a regional strength finding a gathering, as they called it. It was funded by the Ford Family Foundation. And there were people represented there all over the county. Just about every city was represented. And I thought it was a great meeting. Steve was there as well. It was a really good way to draw people out and talk about the positive things that are happening in each community. And we did that with these little sticky notes, and we had a breakdown of the map of Siskiyou County, but much larger, great big, on the wall. And we took little sticky notes, so the green is things that are happening in the west part of the county. And the purple was us, and we had a ton of them. We were overlapping both areas. And then the east and the south. And after seeing all of the sticky notes on there and all the things that are available for visitors and activities and things to do, we all came to the conclusion that there is never an excuse for anybody to say there's nothing to do in this county, because there is an amazing amount of things, attractions and events and just wonderful things that are going on. And the really cool thing is that we exchanged cities. We went to Weed I think we went to McLeod, and Dunsmuir went to Etna, and Etna went to Tule Lake, I can't remember, but anyway, we exchanged, and then last night we did our review of our visits to those cities, and it was, it was amazing. And so there was a questionnaire at the end, actually, that we sent in last night or this morning that talked about, you know, what were your favorite things that you heard? What are the things that surprised you? And what is the area that you will be most likely to visit in the future because you found out things about that area? So it was pretty cool, I think. It's called the Community Building Actions, and this is some of the information that came up. I'll pass it around to you guys. Discover Siskiyou was there, and they talked about their advertising that they've been doing that comes from the money from the hoteliers. And they've been funding this, and the marketing that's been going on, and the successes that they've had to date, and their plans for the future, which was very well received. Also, there was a plea from some of the communities for some education, some workshops that are going to be going on in the future to help out, each of us helping out our sister communities, which I just love it that we're all working together. I mean, you know, and that's one thing that was said over and over again last night, is it's really good to know that one city isn't out there all by themselves, that, you know, that we're all working together. So it was great. I don't know how it could have been any better. The team that put it together was Corey Hayden, Ken Palfini, Mayor of Weed, and myself, and Roy Crouch, working with the Ford Family Foundation. They were. So Ken Palfini and I are the co-chairs, and it just went together so slick. I'm not saying that it wasn't any work, it was a lot of work, but it just went together really well, and I was really pleased that it worked out so good. The night before that was the pool stakeholder meeting. Steve and I and Paul have been meeting regularly with the stakeholders, and I'm really pleased that we have a whole table full of stakeholders. We'd really love to invite the chamber to come on occasion if you'd like to. The College of the Siskiyous has been coming, some of the schools, as well as the YMCA and the casino and the tribe and SWIM, and a lot of the nonprofits in the area have joined together to see another example of the fact that this isn't any one entity's problem, it's all of our problems. So, after visiting knocking on 1,000 doors in town, can you believe that? They knocked on doors and talked to people in 1,000 homes. Keep in mind, we're a community with 7,840 people, is that right, Steve?
About 3,600 homes, isn't it?
Is it 3,600 homes?
32 or 3,600 homes.
Okay, so they knocked on a third of the doors in town.
Right.
And talked to people, and we got our community meetings were well attended. The last one was amazingly well attended. We didn't think anybody would come, and we had over 50 people there at the community center. It was amazing. So anyway, out of that came all of these suggestions on what we should build and how we should do it. So night before last, at the YMCA, we went over all of these options. And then we're going to make a presentation, any of you that are interested in attending, on May 22nd at the community center. And we will be making a presentation of what we're actually writing the grant for.
A quick question though.
Yes.
Since it's not a noticed city council meeting,
Yes.
we'd violate the Brown Act if more than 3 of us were there.
But
If
we
3 of them-
can notice it.
Actually, we're planning, because we thought there might be more interest in that, we are planning to notice that
Okay.
as a,
Joint meeting.
we noticed it as a special meeting, but then we put something down there. The only reason why we're doing this is because there might be 3 or more council members out. There's a
Yes. Because
standard
we
thing that
really
we
want
do.
anyone who's interested to attend.
And what time
And
again?
we should, it's at 6 o'clock, isn't that right, 6 o'clock?
I think so.
On May
Yes.
22nd, which is a Thursday, I think, no, it's a Wednesday.
And we have the
And it's at
audit
the
and
community
debt,
center.
Finance committee meeting at 4 o'clock that day.
Well, then you'll be
Yeah, we
done
do.
by 6.
We'll be done.
You'll be done and ready to go by 6 o'clock, okay. Maybe there'll be a little bit of food there. Anyway, so we are going to be rolling this out, and the grant we're going to have a pretty final grant by June. And the group is going to come and make a presentation to the council on June 11th.
Oh, they're gonna come,
They're gonna
present
come
it
here, yes.
oh, I plan on going to the 22nd.
Steve looked at me like, that's what they said.
What's that?
They're going to make a presentation to the council about the grant and about what all
Oh,
is
right,
gonna happen.
yes.
Robin Richards has been leading this grant, and she is amazing. And all of our volunteers.
Mary Webb has been
Mary
right
Webb's been
behind her.
great. They've just done a great job. I can't take credit for that. They're just doing a great job. And Amy Evans, they've been doing a great job. We're so fortunate to have such good constituents that are really involved in the community.
No
It's
way
wonderful.
without those two that we get to where we are now.
Okay, I just have one, well, let's see, wait a minute, no, I don't. Okay, League of California Cities, our division meeting was in Paradise last week. Paradise is 90% gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. So when you go into Paradise, you see a lot of dead trees, and you hear a lot of chainsaws. They're cutting down, they're cutting down the trees. The mayor and 2 council members were there. No, mayor and 1 council member, I guess. No, I think there were 2 there for a while. I wonder if they
We're not
noticed.
arguing.
Yeah,
I
we're
wonder
not
if
arguing
they-
with you.
I
You
wonder
can
if
tell
they
us anything
noticed-
and we'd believe
I
you.
wonder if they noticed that
Good
meeting.
for
It was in a
us.
park.
Joan argues
And the
with herself.
interesting thing is, all around this park was burned. The gas station across the street was burned, all the trees behind it were burned, everything was burned all around it. This park was, of course, managed, and it was wet, you know, it was irrigated, and
didn't
this
burn.
park is pristine. And there was a little gazebo in the middle, and that's where we had our meeting. We had some little chairs out there, and we had, you know, picnic lunches and stuff. But the rest of the town, 90% is gone.
Did they have any prediction on who's gonna be, how many people are gonna rebuild?
That, I was just gonna say,
sorry.
they have set up, they did not have anything. The city manager spoke, and she said, you know, when I went to city manager school, well, the first thing she said, did you know that when there's a disaster, that the city is in charge of everything? We went, yeah, and she goes, they did not teach that in city manager school. And so they've been learning the hard way from the ground up. And the woman that was there representing the North Valley Foundation, that's been accepting all the money, like from Sierra Nevada, that did all that brewery money, and all of the other brewers across the nation that met their match, and all of the, oh my gosh, all of the money that's been rolling in. So one of the things that the foundation did was to hire this consulting firm that specializes in disasters. And so they came, did you know that Paradise is the only city in the entire state of California that did not have a water system or a sewer system
Of
The
its
entire-
size, right?
of its size, right?
Oh,
So
I
the
think it's the
water
only one in the
system,
US that did not
the
have a
water
sewer
s-
system of its size.
Of its size, yes, I
Yeah.
believe that's true.
the US, right, the water system was, they had wells,
Really?
and the sewer system
Septic.
was
Oh,
septic.
Oh,
Wow.
my.
And they are in the process of
Actually
working
do.
with this consulting firm to completely restructure the sewer and water system in the
Wow.
town. So they're, literally, they're building the town from the ground up.
And when you go to rebuild, there's a $33,000 permit cost just for the sewer system.
Oh,
And
Yeah, it's gonna
the
be
guy that
expensive.
we sat with down there said that they are forecasting 6 out of every 10 people will come back.
They,
6 out of 10? That's actually better than I thought.
and you know what, that's a good figure, because the figure that she used that day was 60%.
Yes, it's just
Yeah.
They've
60%.
heard, and people, by the way, are scattered all over the entire United States from Paradise. And she said they had to build a communication system with the previous, with the owners of property in there, so that they could communicate and get information out to them, to let them know what the process is and what the progress is, because right
Right.
now, they can't move back.
Right.
Nobody can build right now. They're working on permits, but until they get the water and sewer in, nobody
can't do
can live there.
anything. Wow.
Yeah.
Do
So
they
it's
have the
slow.
option of doing their septic and private well again?
Nope.
They don't even have the
Nope.
option?
Really?
They're completely rebuilding it.
And
So-
my understanding is there's still cleanup. They figure 18 more months of cleanup
Clean up.
is
yeah.
what
Wow.
because I know people here that are working down there with their trucks and stuff, and they're saying they're booked for 18 months down there.
They mentioned cleanup and, trucks coming in, going out, dirt, trees, you know, just, it's amazing
Everything.
the amount of trucks. And so they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the transportation funding available to fix the roads after the trucks tear them up
Right,
in the
right.
process of reconstruction.
Wow.
Anyway, something they said was supposed to be done by the end of the year, and maybe that's just clearing out the trees. That's just the dead trees. So they're working on that.
6
And-
more months of that, though.
Are there still people in monkey suits cleaning up, or is that done?
No, the monkey suits are gone.
The monkey suits are
He's
gone?
talking about the hazmat suits.
Yeah, the white
The
monkey
hazmat.
suits.
I did not see one moonwalker, didn't see any hazmat, but yeah, but I tell you what, the positive attitude of the people there. I mean, the whole town burned down, and yet they're happy, they're working, they're supporting one another. I mean, you didn't see a lot of depressed people. I mean, everybody was really working together, so that, that was good. So there were 3 people on the panel, and then the 4th person that came in a little bit late was Assembly Member James Gallagher.
Oh.
And he's working closely with the town and with the whole county on rebuilding after the fire. And he was very positive. So as you all know, I'm working on the Rural Cities Working Group. Steve's working on that as well. But when Assemblymember Gallagher was there, I took the opportunity of asking him, because as you know, we're still negotiating with the League of California Cities Board because change is hard. And I asked him, do you see an advantage to having a rural cities working group, rural cities issues working group? The name is morphing. And he said, absolutely. He said that, with all of the issues that are hitting the rural areas at this time, especially with disaster, he thought that it was absolutely a wonderful idea. So we got the idea of getting quotes from all of our different rural representatives, so that when this comes up next month at the League of Cities board meeting, and it will be an action item this time, last time it was information only, they're going to vote it up or vote it down.
Okay.
And we're hoping it's gonna be up.
Yeah.
And we're gonna work with them on that. And we're working really hard on that. We had a conference call on that this morning. So I just wanted you to know we're still working hard on that. But the one fun thing that I wanted to tell you about is, as you know, Yreka and Montague Rotary Clubs do a top 100 every year for the elementary schools, as well as for the high school. The elementary school was on Monday, the 13th, and the high school one's going to be on May 23rd, so next week, a week from today. So it was well attended. We had 52 students from 10 schools, no, 9 schools around the area, 8th graders, great kids. I just wanted to point out, if you'll take a look at who the keynote speaker was, it was my son.
All right.
He came up from Chico, and they asked him to be the keynote speaker, because in the 8th grade, he was in their seats. And so he talked about, what he did, that he's CEO, president, CEO, and partner of his business, which is Mattson and Isom Technology. It's a computer consulting, well, not just consulting, they actually go into a company. Sierra Nevada Industries is one of their customers, and they go in and they completely do their communications. They do their apps. If they need an app, they build an app for them, and they hook everything, their iPads, their computers, their phones, everything they hook together. But he's talked about, do you know what the definition of a computer is? This surprised me. Definition of a computer is a person who goes into a room and computes calculations.
Oh.
That was the original. So he talked about the 6 women who in NASA created the computers that is what they still use today with some improvements. And he talked about the fact that these women did not just simply go out every day and do a job. They just didn't go do it. They didn't even just go out and do a good job. They did an excellent job. They excelled every single day.
That's nice.
And he talked about the importance. He says, if you saw these women standing in front of the Nassau sign, you would think they were the models. These were people that excelled every single day. So he encouraged and you could have heard a pin drop. Mom was so proud. You could have heard a pin drop, because these kids were listening. And not only were they listening, their parents were listening. This was a good message for parents and children alike, that every day of your life, you get up, you go out, you excel. You do an excellent job at whatever you do. You go home, you set your alarm, you get up the next day, and you do it all over again. I was proud. Proud mama. He did a good job. You did a good job. And with that, I think we should probably go into closed session. All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney.
We do have closed sessions.
We do
Yeah,
have a
we have
closed
we have
session.
closed session.
Okay, so we have